welcome back. If you vibe, like, and subscribe. I tried to do this reading earlier and there was a lot of distractions, so something in your life is trying to prevent you from getting to where you want to go, and it's going to involve some risk. We have this risk card here, and collaboration of souls, so working with other people and allowing yourself to be who you are. We have this originality card here, and dancing with the ocean waves. And to be honest, she's creating the ocean with her own hands. And with this creator air here, this could signify that you have sun, moon, rising in an air sign, so Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius. But if not, that's totally fine, no worries. This also signifies to me that you are a master manifester. You are able to take literally anything, create something out of nothing, pulling stuff out of thin air. I almost saw this castle in her brain as almost like I saw an egg nest. So there's some kind of fertility happening in your mind space, right? You may be somebody who studies a lot. You could have a physical bodily practice. If not, I encourage you to get into one, because you could be too in your mind. This could also signify maybe some dissociation, maybe from discomfort. I did write some channeled messages earlier yesterday as well. So flow. There was something about creative blocks, and there was also at the very bottom here I wrote finish a project. You could have started it last year. You could have started thinking about it last year. Something about last year. Something happened last year that sort of pulled you off of the track that you were on. And Spirit is trying to regroup you and put you back in alignment with where you're trying to go. So trust yourself. You could have been somebody who experienced some inner child suppression. So maybe growing up, there was this sort of grieving or a loss of your innocence. You could have been somebody who resonates with being a latchkey kid. Again, with this key in the doors here as well. So spending a lot of time alone in your early formative years. And you could have had maybe some imagination? You definitely have a big imagination. Imaginary friends, or you connect deeply with animals, spirit guides. I'm seeing a lot of cat imagery here. There's tons of animals, wolves, owls, butterflies in this image as well. I'm also seeing this love. But I'm seeing this as loving the inner child. So there's this sort of disconnect with other people sometimes. You go through these phases, this kind of back and forth of connecting or isolating, which is normal. This is what we all do. And it's actually very healthy to kind of go between these two states of connecting with people and then taking some time alone to kind of regurgitate the information that we gather, right? We need time to carve out who we are, right? After we learn something, we need to take that information and integrate it. So we need that integration time. There was this... I wrote extended or prolonged, so you could have spent, this extended or prolonged could be spending a lot of time in isolation, so spending a prolonged time in isolation, or even in childhood spending an extended amount of time being alone, which is just the verification of what I just said. This money, find a way to abundance. There's kind of some lack wounds here. Around money. You could have grown up and your parents had the kind of mentality like, oh, money doesn't grow on trees, want in one hand, shit in the other kind of vibe. So as an adult now, you're trying to carve out a new understanding and have a better relationship with money. With this risk here right across from it too, I'm picking up almost stocks and bonds and investing vibes. So not only money, but also your time, your attention. These are also things you can invest in, right? Spending time with other people takes energy, right? That's a form of energetic exchange, and learning how to be yourself in these different relationships can take a toll on your mental health sometimes, right? Because when we grow up, we're often told how to be, how the world is, but as we get older, we kind of start understanding that the world doesn't always look the way that we're told it does, right? We all have our own perception. We all have our own experiences that we go through that shape who we are, right? We all make different choices that help us grow. Do we take the darker path? Do we take the lighter path, right? These are all choices we get to make. There's this sensation of sinking versus swimming. So you may have been just thrown out into the world, right? Your parents you may have felt abandoned, and kind of left to your own devices to figure out how to create your own life, how to live in your own life, right? And instead of flailing about and worrying about what's happening, you're being guided to relax deeper into the present moment, right? Relax into your body, relax into trusting that no matter what path you take, you're going to grow beyond where you are, and it's going to help you see things in a new way. Loyal champions. You have friends and guides in high places that are assisting you through this journey as well. You're not doing it alone. It does take a little bit of work, though, with this elbow grease in the back, right? Know your own worth. Something that came through was sort of this frail or weak will because of rejection, constantly feeling rejected for being who you are. And some practical advice for that to kind of help with this grief, to compost this grief, right? Drink dandelion tea or dandelion root, because that can help metabolize the grief in your body. If you have any pain in the kidney area, this could block flow. So drinking this dandelion tea can assist with helping that energy to unravel and start moving again. This sort of energy seems like a generational wound, right? If we talk about latchkey kids, that was a whole generation of people who sort of experienced that because both parents started having to go to work to support the children. Right, so there's a large group of people who experienced this experience of needing to take care of themselves, and you grew up in that kind of mentality that you have to work hard to get what you want, right? And it's almost like that's changing. The relationship with money is changing, and you're realizing you can choose a different way. You can carve a new path. This card keeps pulling my attention, this carving a new path. I'm also seeing a lot of space theme, so being connected with this spirit guide that's helping you along the way, especially with this collaboration of souls. I'm also seeing this as, you could be someone who is a writer. I'm almost seeing this as a pen, but the blue in here is throat chakra. This creating, what story do you want to create? What story are you telling yourself? There's an invitation to get grounded, right? Especially with this air here. And if we're too flighty or floaty and we don't ground this energy, it can get a little chaotic. So grounding it is very important as well. So let's explore this a little further with some cards. Some tarot cards. What else wants to come through here today? Thank you. The Lovers. Yeah, and again, I saw this Lovers down here as well. So this could be, for some of you, this is about a partnership with somebody else, and for others of you, this could be your self-love, trusting yourself on the journey that you are on, right? Trusting that your desires are valid. I'm seeing this Lovers as a desire. Desire to be seen, desire to be known, desire to be understood. And you are very protected, and your desires are valid. You don't need anybody else to tell you what to do in your life. And I think that's something that we're moving away from, right? Because if you grew up, I keep coming back to this latchkey kid. If you grew up spending a lot of time alone, you've kind of gained this sense of autonomy at a very early age. And you could have grown up in this society that's like, oh, well, you have to go to school, you have to go to work, you have to do this to get what you want, right? This money, this abundance. But that's not necessarily true for you. You may have generated this abundance in a way that's sort of different than what you grew up believing, right? With this originality, blaze your own trail. You're forging your own path. You're creating your own way. You're no longer taking the doors that other people present to you. You're creating your own opportunities. You're not waiting for somebody to tell you to go ahead. You're getting comfortable with taking risks, and collaborating with other people is helping you do that. So if you've spent a prolonged period of time in sort of a hermit mode and you're coming out of that now, you're seeing that it's possible to do it differently. That's incredible. What else? And this is a major life thing. This Lover's card, the 6, the harmony. You're harmonizing with what your soul wants. 3 of Wands, yeah. You know what you want. You're just waiting. You're waiting for the ship to dock so that you can get on and so you can go explore. Get grounded. Get comfortable. You are sane, right? If you've been flailing around in the ocean for a long time, not understanding exactly what it is you want to do because you have a different idea from what everybody else around you is telling you you should do, then you've been flailing around in this ocean of uncertainty, because when you forge your own path, there's no map, right? It feels like you're floating above the water. You're just out in outer space. I'm not going to take those. There's way too many here. I just want one, please. Okay, it's making us take. Yeah, okay. So yeah, again, taking the risk. The Fool is about taking a risk. And the 7 of Cups is the choices. So you know the choices you want to take. And then the 9 of Cups is this abundance. You know exactly what you want to do. It's just taking the steps to get there and waiting. There's a lot of waiting involved. And I'm hearing now, I saw a meme the other day that said waiting, the only thing that waits is poverty is about waiting or something like that. But it's not necessarily true, because there's a bit of tedium involved in creating the life that you want, right? If you're manifesting things, there's a period of time that it takes. When you plant a fruit in the garden, right? It takes time for the fruit to develop. You can't just plant the seed and then immediately get the fruit. There's a waiting period. But it's not a bad waiting period. It's just the phase that we need to sit with until we get to the fruits. There's a feeling here of doubt, of distrusting, of this Five of Cups at the back with the sorrow, right? Healing this grief, healing these past pains that we've experienced, because some of those are creating stagnation in the energy that is needed to flow. So while you're in this waiting period, these experiences might come up that remind you of things that happened in the past, and that is for you to review them and decide if that's what you want to carry into the next phase or if you want to let them go. Right? So this waiting period isn't a punishment, it's a review. It's giving you space and time to challenge previous thoughts or previous beliefs or previous narratives that you've held on to for a while. You get to choose, right? There's a lot of choice here. There's a lot of choice involved in what you decide to do with your life. And that can feel scary for some because it's very big, right? But if you could do anything that you wanted to do, what would you do? If you were supported all the way, which you are, there's so many guides around here. You are very supported in what you want to do. You just have to decide on taking the leap, taking that step off the cliff into the unknown. But you will be abundant. Like, look at this. You will be abundant. That's gorgeous. All right, I'm being called to take one of these now, and this is the final card. Shifting frequency. Yeah, you're shifting your frequency. You're shifting your frequency. You're moving out of that lack space, out of that isolation period. You're moving into a space where you can work together with others more comfortably, or you've gained this discernment, right? You better understand how you want to show up in the world. And you're putting it through this philosophical fire within you, right? You're deciding who you want to spend your time with and who is not good for you, and you're allowing yourself to be who you are and shine, even in any relationship. You're learning how to energetically exchange with others in a healthy way. All right. And again, going back to that, if you grew up where your parents weren't around a lot, it took you a long time to get where you are. But nothing is wasted. No time has been wasted. Everything that you've experienced was to get you to this point. You are the creator of your reality. And you get to decide what happens from this point forward. You get to decide how you react. You get to decide choices. Again, you get to decide. It's in your hands. That's the message. Is there anything else in here? Nope. All right. So again, if you vibe, like, and subscribe, thank you so much for being here with me, connecting with me. I will see you in the next one. Take care.